Okay, so check this out. Right here is the full-on recap of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 1. All right, the MCU, aka the biggest freaking cinematic universe in the entire multiverse, kicked off back in 2008. And yo, it's still going strong. But before it got all cosmic with Thanos and multiverse shenanigans, we had the OG crew. Yeah, I'm talking Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, Thor, Hawkeye, and Captain America. So Marvel split this whole saga into phases, and Phase 1, oh man, this was the foundation, the starter pack. It gave us 6 straight-up iconic films, and it all began with Iron Man. Tony Stark, right? This dude is like the ultimate playboy, genius, billionaire. He's the big boss of Stark Industries, a company that's all about making weapons like super boom stuff. Anyway, one night, instead of soaking up his moment of glory at some fancy award ceremony, Tony's chilling at a casino, throwing dice and flexing his rich guy swagger. His buddy Rhodey visits the casino, give him the awards and be like, dude, don't be late tomorrow. Tony rolls in 3 hours late for his flight to Afghanistan. Typical, right? He hops on the jet, sipping drinks like he's on vacation, ready to show off his shiny new Jericho missile, the peak of cutting edge, blow stuff up tech. But get this, they're cruising in this convoy. Everything's cool, and bam! Tony takes a hit, ends up with shrapnel all up in his chest, and gets snatched by some bad dudes calling themselves the 10 Rings. They toss him in a cave. Tony wakes up all groggy and sees this car battery hooked up to his chest. He freaks out. And then there's this guy Yinsen, like, yeah, I wouldn't move if I were you. Turns out, Yinsen rigged up an electromagnet to the shrapnel from reaching his heart. Then in strolls Raza, the 10 Rings boss. This guy's all, hey Tony, build us that Jericho missile and you're free to go. Tony's thinking, yeah, right, he and Yinsen know they're never walking out of the lie. So instead of the missile, they cook up the arc reactor to keep Tony's heart ticking without needing a car battery strapped to his chest. And wait for it, a freaking iron suit, like full-on bulletproof to escape from the cave. But oh no, Raza's boys catch wind of their little project and like bust in right as they're about to finish. Yinsen, my man, goes full hero, sacrificing himself to buy Tony time. Heartbreaking stuff. Tony powers up the suit, goes Iron Hulk, and blasts his way out, torching the 10 Rings weapon stash on the way. He crash lands in the desert, and the suit's toast, but Rhodey and the cavalry show up, so he's good. Back home, first thing he does, grabs a cheeseburger and announces like, yo, no more weapons, we're done, at the press conference. And everyone loses their minds, especially Obadiah Stane. Stane's like, Tony, you're killing the company, man. But Tony's not listening, he's got bigger things to do. Tony made a new arc reactor and asked his chick assistant to change it and destroy the old one. Cue the montage, first flight fails, arm stabilizers go haywire, but eventually, bam! Iron Man Mark II is born. Tony's feeling himself, goes to a party, dances with Pepper, and runs into Christine, the reporter chick. She's like, hey, your weapons are in Gomera, being used to hurt people and stuff. Tony's like, I didn't approve any shipment, but Christine's like, your company did. Tony confronts Stane, who brushes him off with a fake smile and some legal stuff about protecting the company. Tony's not buying it. He suits up, flies to Afghanistan, and goes full one-man army, tearing through the bad guys in Gomera. Man, that was awesome. On the way back, the Air Force spots him and sends 2 Raptors. Tony's dodging missiles, flipping around, and calls Rhodey like, bro, chill, it's me. Rhodey's like, what the? But he helps Tony out. Meanwhile, back at Bad Guy HQ, the 10 Rings find Tony's old suit and show it to Stane. Surprise! Stane's been shady all along, trying to take over Stark Industries. He offs the 10 Rings and takes the suit for himself. Tony tells Pepper to hack the company's files and find out what's really going on. She discovers Stane's been selling weapons to the 10 Rings and tried to have Tony killed. Stane catches her snooping, but Pepper's a smart chick, she gets out with the evidence. Stane's freaking out. He tries to power his own suit, but his engineer is like, this tech doesn't exist. And Stane's like, Tony Stark built it in a cave with scraps. But he's like, yeah, well, I'm not Tony Stark. So Stane takes matters into his own hands. He sneaks into Tony's place, zaps him with some paralyzing gadget, and yanks the arc reactor out of his chest. Cold move, man. But Tony crawls to his lab and slaps his old reactor back, just in time. Pepper teams up with Agent Coulson of S.H.I.E.L.D. to expose Stane. There's a big showdown. Stane and his massive ironmonger suit versus Tony and his Mark III Iron Man armor. They fight all over Stark Industries, and Tony's like, Pepper, overload the big arc reactor. She hesitates, but Tony's like, trust me. Boom, huge energy surge fries Stane and sends him crashing into oblivion. The next day, Tony holds a press conference. S.H.I.E.L.D. hands him a cover story, but Tony, he tosses it aside and says, I am Iron Man, mic drop, crowd goes wild. Oh, and post-credits, Nick Fury shows up all mysterious and is like, Tony, you think you are only superhero in the world. Tony's like, who the hell are you, man? And Fury's like, Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Tony like, And Fury's like, I am here to talk about Avengers initiative and stuff. Bruce Banner, he's been living on the run for 5 years straight. See, Bruce was working on this experiment, right? Trying to recreate that Captain America super soldier serum, but something goes way wrong. Next thing you know, Bruce hulks out for the first time and accidentally hospitalizes his own girl, Betty Ross. Now her dad, General Thaddeus Ross, dude's fuming. So Bruce skips town, ends up hiding out in Rosina, Brazil. Blending in, keeping his head down, dodging the US Army. My man's working at this soft drink bottling factory. Not exactly peak career goals, but hey, beats turning into a giant rage monster. And to keep things chill, he's all about that Zen life now. Breathing exercises, martial arts, the whole inner peace stuff. Been 5 whole months without turning into the big green guy. And dude's feeling good. But dude gets a little cut. No biggie, right? Except a drop of his blood lands in one of those soda bottles. Fast forward to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, some poor guy cracks open a cold one, takes a sip, and bam, Hulk blood straight to the system. Not a great day for that dude. Meanwhile, Bruce is trying to cook up an antidote. Going lab science and stuff, but fails. He's messaging this online dude called Mr. Blue. Even sends him a vial of his blood for testing. Now Ross catches wind of this whole soda blood incident, and he's like, it's banner time. He calls in Emil Blonsky, some British special ops guy. Blonsky and his goons track Bruce to his house. Bruce dips out, trying to be sneaky, but runs right into this gang of factory thugs. And who's there leading the charge? Silva, Bruce's old nemesis. Talk about bad luck. Bruce is out here trying to stay calm, counting his breaths like inhale, exhale, don't green. But Silva, dude's asking for trouble. And then, Bruce's eyes go neon green, Hulk's out. And let me tell you, big guy's got no chill. Tosses tugs like frisbees, knocking dudes out. Blonsky's team rolls in thinking they've got a shot, but nah. Hulk's tossing soldiers like they're in a dodgeball tournament. Blonsky, bro's the last man standing. Sees Hulk, locks eyes with him and Hulk. He's like, oh, you want to stare in contest? Grabs a forklift and threw it straight at Blonsky. Dude barely dies out of the way. Man's lucky he didn't get squashed like a pancake. Bruce dips out, sneaks his way through Guatemala, eventually makes it back to the States. Tracks down Betty at Culver University, but plot twist, Betty's moved on, dating some dude named Leonard Sampson, who's all about that therapist life. But Bruce has still got a homie, Stanley Lieber, this pizza shop legend. Hooks Bruce up with a gig delivering pizzas. Bruce sneaks back into the university to grab his old research while posing as pizza guy. Smooth move, James Bond meets DoorDash, right? But the file's gone, deleted, like they never existed. Bruce hits up his online homie, Mr. Blue. Yo, bro, bad news, all the research gone, and Blue's like, dude, I can't help without it. Betty finds Banner. And guess what? Chick's been clutched the whole time. Turns out she copied Bruce's research before Ross could wipe it. Meanwhile, Ross is piecing it all together for Blonsky. He's like, yo, that green monster. That's Banner. Ross is like, we're about to get serious. And Blonsky, dude's like, I want what Banner's got. So Ross hits him with a sample of that off-brand super soldier serum. You know, the one they had sitting in the kind of works, kind of doesn't drawer. Next thing you know, Blonsky's out here running like Usain Bolt. He leads another squad to Cobra University, ready to throw hands. And oh boy, when Hulk shows up, it's go time. Tanks flying, trees getting smashed. Blonsky's out here dodging explosions like, I can take this guy. And then bam, hits him with that Spartan kick, sends him flying into a tree. Dude's bones turn into Rice Krispie snap, crackle, pop. Airstrike rolls in, Hulk saves Betty, grab her, and disappears into the Smoky Mountain National Forest for some peace and quiet. So they crash at this cheap motel Bruce is trying to clean up, gets a fresh haircut, looking like a brand new man, some love stuff, leading to kissing and hot stuff. Bruce's watch starts beeping and dude's like, wait, we can't do this. Betty's like, it's okay, I want to. And Bruce is like, I can't get too excited. Betty's like, not even a little excited. Bruh, this chick's naughty. Meanwhile, Blonsky's all broken but get recovered quickly thanks to that shady serum. Ross is like, good to see you, soldier, how you feeling? And Blonsky's like pissed and ready for round 3. Now, Bruce and Betty, they head out to Grayburn College in New York, right? Gotta meet this mysterious Mr. Blue dude that Bruce has been emailing back and forth with. Turns out, Mr. Blue is actually the scientist named Samuel Stearns. Now, Stearns, he's been cooking up this wild antidote, and Bruce, man's desperate. So he's like, all right, doc, hit me with the science juice. Now, Stearns is like, yo, I should probably warn you, this could go very wrong. But Bruce, he's like, let's go. So they strap Bruce down and Stearns fires up his experiment. Bruce's eyes go green, veins popping, Hulk's about to break loose. But hey, the antidote actually works. Banner's back to his normal scrawny self. Dude's feeling good until Stearns starts talking crazy. See, Stearns didn't just cook up one vial of antidote. Nah, dude went full Costco and made a whole freaking bulk supply of Hulk blood. He's like, bro, this stuff's the key to the next step in human evolution. And Bruce is like, nah, bad idea. Before Bruce can smash the mad science out to him, bam! Ross snipers hit Bruce with the insta snooze dart. Bro's out cold. Next thing you know, Betty and Bruce both cuffed up in the back of Ross's ride. Meanwhile, Blonsky, oh man, this dude's still chasing gains like he's on a pre-workout binge. Rolls up on Stearns and says, yo, give me some of that spicy Hulk juice. And Stearns, he's like, bad idea, bro. You mix super soldier serum with Hulk's blood and you're asking for an abomination. But who am I to judge? Stearns hits him with the Hulk blood. Blonsky mutates right there on the spot. Dude's muscles start going kaiju mode. Skin's turning all scaly, bones poking out like he's built from scrap metal. He's calling himself Abomination now cause, while dude's clearly not in the self-love phase. Abomination hits Stearns and Hulk's blood spills right into his head wound. And guess what? Bro's forehead starts growing, like bulging out like somebody's inflating a balloon under his scalp. Anyway, Abomination busts loose and starts stomping through Harlem. He's tearing up the streets, flipping cars like he's playing real-life Mario Kart, looking for a fight. Meanwhile, Bruce, he's locked up in a chopper with Ross like, let me out. I gotta fix this. And Betty's like, what if you can't Hulk out anymore, Ross? Dude finally gets sentimental for once, like, look, I hate you, but you're the only shot we've got. So what does Bruce do? Man kisses Betty for good luck and straight up jumps out the chopper. No parachute, no backup plan. Mid-air, whispering, please work, please work. But oh no, Banner craters straight into the pavement like a meteor. No sign of Hulk, and then, snap, Big Green comes busting out to the ground. Hulk's back, baby. Now it's on. Hulk versus Abomination. Full on heavyweight slugfest in the streets. Cars flying, concrete cracking, explosions everywhere. Hulk rips a police car in half, smashes the pieces into boxing gloves, and start kicking Abomination's butt. But Abomination, this dude's just grinning like that's all you got, and boom, kicks Hulk like a field goal. Ross shows up with the chopper like I got you, starts shooting at Abomination. Dude about to attack them, but Hulk grabs him. Abomination grabs the chopper and crashes it down. Abomination starts beating Hulk, but Hulk, my dude's angry, straight up body slams him into a building. The chopper catches fire. Betty and Ross, they're standing there like, oh snap, we're gonna die. Hulk sees them. Dude pulls out his signature Hulk smash, claps his hands so hard the fire blows out. Final round, Hulk gets Abomination in a chokehold and starts squeezing like he's trying to pop the cap off a ketchup bottle. Hulk's got that I could end this fool right now. But then Betty's like, stop. Hulk grunts and knocks Abomination instead of sending him to the great beyond. Cops roll in, sirens blazing. Hulk looks at Becky and leaves jumping up the buildings. Now Bruce is in Bella Coola, British Columbia, all peaceful and zen. He's learning to control the Hulk now instead of fighting him. And then Ross is all pissed and drowning his sorrows in whiskey. And guess who shows up? My man Tony starts like, yo Ross, what if I told you we're putting a team together? So we are in Moscow, right? Snow's falling, TV's blaring, and boom, Tony starts on the news flexing like it's a GQ photo shoot. And across the room, old man Anton Vanko straight up dying. He's like, the only thing I'm leaving you, son, is knowledge. His son Ivan's beside him, all like Papa Newell. Turns out, Anton left him arc reactor blueprints, and had been doing that science stuff and builds himself an arc reactor. Then he's like, I'm gonna ruin Tony Stark's whole existence. 6 months later, Stark Expo, fireworks, music, Tony lands from the sky in full Iron Man drip like it's Coachella. Whole crowd's losing it. He unsuits like Pefshat and walks out with swag and chicks all around. All Howard Stark legacy stuff. So in the government's like, yo, we want the suit. Senate hearing time. Senators start trying to flex authorities like buddy somebody, but Tony's like, I am the suit. You want me to hand over myself? And then Senator drags Justin Hammer, his lame competitor, like it's open mic roast night. Enters James Rhodes, aka Rhodey. But wait, what happened to him, man? Tony pulls up videos of other countries and Hammer failing hard to make Iron Man knockoffs. Everyone laughs. Hammer's embarrassed. Stark exits stage like a mic drop moment. Meanwhile, Ivan's out here welding whips like he's making sci-fi spaghetti. Back at home, Jarvis is like, bro, you're dying. Turns out using that palladium in his arc reactor is giving him some glow-in-the-dark blood problems, like real bad. And Tony's like, cool. Now Pepper's all pissed, like, Tony, you are not taking your company seriously. And Tony's like, let's promote you to CEO. Pepper hires new crazy stupid fine assistant chick Natalie, and Tony's like, I want one. Pepper's like, no. Man, I also want one. Cut to Monaco. Fancy race celebrities everywhere. Tony's like, you know what? I am driving and jumps in the race, but Ivan Vanko shows up like surprise Motor Racer. In Shred's cars like he's playing Fruit Ninja. Happy and Pepper roll up with a suitcase suit Mark 5. Boom! Tony puts it out mid-race. Man, that was awesome. Fights Ivan, gets whipped, but wins. Just barely. Ivan's like, you lose, Stark. Now Justin Hammer, he's watching like, wow, this dude is insane. I love it. Busts Ivan out to jail like it's Ocean's 11 and goes, yo, help me make Iron Man suits so I can be cool too. Ivan's like, stop, I make drones. Drones better. Hammer's like, yeah, okay, whatever, man. Back at home, Tony's like, might be dying. Let's throw a rager. Dude's drunk in the Iron Man suit, shooting watermelons, DJing, making a mess. Rhodes, he's had enough. Puts on Mark II suit, throws down with Tony in the living room like the brothers beef on over who ate the last slice of pizza. Hody dips, flies off with the suit, lands it at the military base. And guess who's there? Justin Hammer's still desperate, like, let me upgrade ya. And next morning, Tony's hungover, sitting in a giant donut, and boom. Nick Fury rolls up out to nowhere like, sup, sunshine. I'm here to save your life. And guess what? That assistant chick Natalie. Yeah, bro, she ain't just fine, she's freaking Black Widow. Tony's like, wait, what now? And Fury's like, also, here's a box of your dad's old junk. A cure to your death problems in there somewhere, peace, Tony goes back to the lab, watching vintage Howard Stark tapes. He's like, Tony, you are my greatest creation. Tony goes full science mode, finds a secret message in a 1974 Stark Expo model. Bro builds a particle accelerator in his garage like it's a weekend hobby. Synthesizes the element, makes a fresh glow-up arc reactor. Blood, cleansed, Tony's back, baby. Meanwhile at Hammer HQ, and then goes out making suits for Hammer like he promised. Nah, dude's got plans. Calls Tony and threatens him. Cut to Expo, Justin Hammer's flexing like, look at my drones. Whole lineup, Army drone, Navy drone, plus Rhodey and full war machine gear, upgraded and shiny. Tony crashes the party with new Mark 6 armor like, you all miss me? Everyone's clapping, selfies, you know. But wait, Evan's like, surprise, and hacks everything. All the drones and Roji's suit go rogue. Total chaos. Meanwhile, Happy and Black Widow break into Hammer's lab. Happy's like, I got this, barely took one dude, and that's already taken out like 12 goons with zero effort. Nat reboots Rhodey's system like control, alt delete, and suddenly bam, tag team's back. Rhodey and Tony taking down drones like it's robot dodge, but lasers, punches, all that stuff. Tony goes hold still and slices all the drones with his laser attack. Fire. And then boss level time. Ivan shows up in his final armor, double whips, full power. Rhodey's like, I got this, and Tony's like, Hammer tech, massive fight. Tony and Rhodey combine repulsors to make a big blast and takes down Banco. But wait, this dude rigged all the suits to self-destruct. Tony saves Pepper at the last second, flies her to a rooftop. They kiss, like super romantic. Hammer, arrested. Guy's like, wait, I can explain, but nope, Joe. Then Nick Fury's like, look, Tony, you're reckless, unpredictable, and definitely not Avenger material, but we might use you as a consultant. Tony's like, you can't afford me. I could do though. Smash cut. Senator Stern awkwardly pinning medals on Tony and Rhodey. Oh, and post credits. Agent Coulson pulls up to a desert crater, calls Fury and like, we found it. What is it? Thor's hammer just chilling in there. Jane Foster, right? Astroscientist chick, big brain energy. She's rolling through New Mexico with her mentor Eric Selvig and Darcy Lewis. They're chasing these crazy lightning storms like, ooh, science. And then bam, they straight up yeet Thor with their van. Now Odin, King Dad of Asgard, is telling bedtime stories, but like super intense ones. He's like, once upon a time, these frost giant fools from Jotunheim tried to turn the humanity into a popsicle using this crazy ice blaster called the Casket of Ancient Winters. But don't worry, Asgard rolls up like, nah, bro. Big battle, ice beam, zap, and total chaos. Asgard wins, snatches the casket like a trophy, and went back to home. Odin's chilling with his two sons, Thor and Loki. He's like, one day, one of you will be king. Now in present day, Thor's getting ready for his big king main ceremony. How Asgard's wide, and Loki's all pissed, but right before Odin can crown Thor. Surprise! Frost giant break in. They try to snatch the casket back, but wham! The destroyer armor melts him into sparkly blue dust. Odin's like, chill, it's handled. But Thor, dude's ready to throw hands. Thor rounds up the homies, Volstagg, Fandor, Hobogun, Sif, and rolls a cleap through the Bifrost. Heimdall, the all-seeing door guy's like, I'd like to know how they breached the security. Thor's like, then don't tell anyone until we come back. They show up in Jotunheim. No good Yelp reviews, big Frozen Wasteland vibes. Laufey, king of the ice dudes, comes out like, what you doing here, Sparkle boy? He even offers Thor a peaceful exit. Loki's trying to be diplomatic like, we good. Then Laufey's like, go home, little princess. Ouch. Thor's inner Hulk head snap, swing. Smash. Full-blown frost giant fight scene. Loki gets touched by a frost giant and weirdly doesn't freeze. Plot thickens. Things get bad. Laufey unleashes this giant frost monster that looks like a nice dinosaur from hell. Thor kills it, but now they're surrounded. Odin shows up like the angry dad, scoops up them and bounce. Back in Asgard, Odin's fuming Thor, you reckless dummy, you almost started frost giant World War III. You're unworthy, and strips him of his powers, snatches his hammer, and straight up launches him to Earth. He eats Mjolnir too? Whosoever holds his hammer if he be worthy kind of stuff. Back to Earth. Jane's like, where did he even come from? Darcy's like, should we call 911 or tase him? Zap. Thor's down bad. Darcy's like, I could give him CPR. Chick's into him. They drag his knocked out body to the hospital. Thor wakes up angry as hell, flexing like, how dare you touch the son of Odin? And the doctors are like, bro, chill, we just need a little blood. Thor, no chill. He fights everyone, escapes, and Jane smack hits him again with the van. Poor dude can't catch a break. Locals start gathering around the crash site, cause Thor's hammer is stuck in the desert like a cosmic Excalibur. Everyone's trying to lift it, guys. Trucks barbecue dads. S.H.I.E.L.D rolls up like, thanks, we'll take it from here. Loki's putting the ultimate sneaky boy moves on Asgard. Turns out dude's not even a real Asgardian. Odin adopted him from Jotunheim as a baby. Loki shook. Odin falls into a nap, aka Odin's sleep. And Loki's like, I'm now the king, baby. Jane's equipment gets jacked by S.H.I.E.L.D. Thor's pissed, breaks into S.H.I.E.L.D. field sight. Clint Barton Hawkeye's like, should I shoot him? But Coulson's like, nah, let's watch. Oh no, can't lift the total gym fail. Thor's all pissed, but gets captured. Coulson questioning him. Loki pulls up in a hologram like, yo, Pops is dead. You're banished forever, bro. Later, Dr. Selvig bails out Thor saying he's a psychophysicist. He's on a lot of steroids and stuff. It's a whole thing. Coulson's like, sounds legit. Thor's all depressed. Selvig's like, come on, bro, let's hammer. Both just wipe it. And Jane's busy googly eyeing Thor's muscles. Meanwhile, Loki's cutting shady stuff. He deals with Laufey to let frost giants back into Asgard. But Heimdall, he knows something shady. So he helps Thor's homies, Lady Sif and the Warriors 3, sneak to Earth to find Thor and set the record straight. Now Loki sees this happening and he's big mad. So what does he do? He sends the destroyer, that angry iron golem, to Earth. The gang reunites with Thor and tells him the truth. Loki's been lying, No's not dead. And also, yo, bro, we need you bad. And Destroyer shows up stomping through Main Street, New Mexico, kicking everyone's butt. Thor's still powerless, but all heart stands up like, hey, Loki, I know you can hear me. Just take me, leave the humans alone. Loki's like, hey. Destroyer slaps Thor so hard he goes down. Jane runs up crying and stuff. Hammer's like, yo, this guy's worthy. And boom! Flies back into Thor's hand. Lightning storms everywhere. Whole glow up montage. Thor's back. Shiny armor, red cape. Jane's like, oh my god. Thor smashes Destroyer. Then he turns to Jane all soft and smooth like, I gotta go, but don't worry, I'll be back for you. And Jane's like, Dillon, give him a kiss. Like, real kiss? Man, I wish I had such a deal. I would even like settle for a minimal deal. Like on a cheek or even hand. Thor beams back to Asgard with Heimdall's assist. Meanwhile, Laufey and his frost giant sneak into Odin's room. Laufey's about to stab the king, but wait, plot twist. Loki shows up like, surprise sucker, shoots Laufey and acts like the big hero. But nah, Loki's still crazy. Now he's flipping the Bifrost bridge into this big cosmic death laser pointed straight at Jotunheim. Thor shows up like, bro, stop. Big final fight, brother against brother. Hammer versus Mischief. Thor smashes the Bifrost to save the realms, Thor and Loki. Dangling into the void, Odin comes to the rescue. Loki's like, father, I could have done it for all of us, but let's go, and drifts off into deep space. Thor's sad. Jane's got a new lab, new squad, still searching those wormholes, trying to find her intergalactic boyfriend. Heimdall standing up there like, yeah, bro, she's totally still looking for you. Oh, and post credits, Selvig's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury shows him the freaking Tesseract, and Loki hiding in Reflections, mind controlling Selvig like, oh, shiny, that's worth a look. Arctic Circle. Modern day couple of researchers out on an ice expedition, right? They're just out there doing their thing. When bam, they stumble on this massive wing-shaped aircraft buried in the ice like some ancient frozen relic. They crack it open, poke around, and then one of them spots something real interesting. A circular object, blue, white, and red, just sitting there under layers of ice. And right away, you know this ain't just some regular wreckage. Flashback to 1942. World War II is raging. And Hydra, yeah, that shadowy Nazi science division is out here making moves. Their top dog, Johann Schmidt, busts into this ancient stone church in Norway, hunting for something. And we're not talking about just any something, we're talking about the freaking Tesseract, a cosmic artifact with ridiculous power. The church keeper tries to throw Schmidt off with a decoy. But Schmidt, he ain't stupid, finds the real deal. And then cold as ice wipes out the keeper and the whole damn village. No loose ends. Meanwhile, over in Brooklyn, enters Steve Rogers. Good heart, body of a toothpick. The guy wants nothing more than to serve his country, but every time he tries to enlist, rejected. Too small, too weak, too many health issues. But Steve, he don't quit. Keeps trying, keeps getting the same nah from the recruiters. He's at the movies, watching a war documentary. When some loudmouth in the back starts running his mouth, get on with it. Tells him to shut up. And the dude turns around and clocks him. Punch, punch. And Steve's like, I can do this all day. And the dude punch him again. Bucky Barnes swoops in, shuts it down, and gets Steve out to there. Bucky and Steve hit up Stark Expo, where Steve again tries to enlist. Bucky's like, Steve, come on, man, let it go. That's when Dr. Abraham Erskine overhears Steve's little, I just want to do my part speech. Something about this scrawny kid catches his attention. Next thing you know, Erskine's like, all right, kid, you're in. Welcome to Project Rebirth. Turns out, he's running this top secret soldier experiment for the Strategic Scientific Reserve, alongside hard-nosed Colonel Phillips and total badass chick Peggy Carter. Meanwhile, over at Hydra HQ, Schmidt and his science whiz, Arnim Zola, are busy cracking open the Tesseract's energy. Now Steve, not exactly built for war. Training's rough. The other recruits are tossing him around like a rag doll. And Phillips, he's watching like, seriously? This is the guy? But then, Steve pulls this crazy move, fake grenade gets thrown in the training yard. And what does he do? He jumps on it. Doesn't hesitate, doesn't run, just straight up self-sacrifice mode. And Phillips is like, he's still skinny. Night before the big procedure, Erskine sits Steve down, lays it all out. Tells him about Schmidt, how he took an early version of the serum. And yeah, it didn't go well. The stuff amplifies what's already inside you. It becomes great, but bad, it gets worse. That's why Erskine chose Steve, because he's got the heart, and he's been weak his whole life. He knows what it's like to struggle. He'll never take his power for granted. Schmidt and Arnim Zola have already cracked into the Tesseract's energy. And Schmidt, he ain't about to stop at just being strong. He wants to rewrite the whole world order. But first, he needs Erskine gone. Next day, game time. Steve steps into this crazy high-tech chamber, and he's all like, that wasn't so bad. And Erskine's like, that was penicillin, then the real stuff kicks in. They pump him full of super soldier serum, blast him with Vita Rays, and Steve, he's screaming, Peggy's yelling, shut it down. But Steve's like, no, I can do this, start cranks it to max power. But uh-oh, system failure. And boom! He steps out taller, stronger, built like a tank. It worked! But before they can celebrate, bam, one of the lab guys pulls a gun and shoots Erskine right there in the lab. It's Schmidt's assassin, Heinz Kruger. He grabs the last vial of the serum and bolts. But now Steve, he's not just some scrawny kid anymore. He's chasing down this dude on foot, dodging cars, leaping over obstacles, and straight up outrunning Kruger's getaway car. Kruger tries to escape in a mini-sub, but Steve jumps in after him, rips the hatch off like it's made of tin foil and drags him back up. But before Steve can get any answers, Kruger pops a cyanide pill. Dead. Meanwhile, Schmidt's making moves. He unveils Tesseract power weapons, shows off their insane destructive capabilities, and when 3 Nazi officers show up to check on him, he vaporizes them on the spot and declares Hydra independent from Hitler. He doesn't want to just take over Europe, he wants the whole world. Now Erskine's dead, and with him, the formula. The SSR can't make any more super soldiers, and Colonel Phillips is like, well, great, what do we do with this guy now? Enter Senator Brandt. Instead of making Steve a soldier, he turns him into Captain America, the mascot. Steve's on tour doing flashy stage shows, selling war bonds, even starring in comic books. The public loves him, but Steve hates it. This ain't what he signed up for. Steve's at a USO show when he hears Bucky's unit got wiped out. Army's calling them casualties of war, but Steve, he ain't buying it. Goes straight to Peggy, and with Howard Stark's help, gets flown behind enemy lines for a solo rescue mission. Steve sneaks into a Hydra factory, busts out a whole squad of pals, and finds Bucky strapped to a lab table mid-experiment. He cuts him loose, but Schmidt sees what's happening, hits self-destruct, and the whole place starts going up in flames. Steve and Schmidt throw hands, and boom! Schmidt rips off his mask to reveal his true face, the Red Skull. Steve and Bucky barely make it out. It's that rescue mission, changes everything. Steve gets put in charge of an elite strike team, the Howling Commandos. Bucky, Dum Dum Dugan, Gabe Jones, Jim Morita, Falsworth, and Dernier. Howard Stark upgrades his gear. He's like, what shield you like? And Steve picks the vibranium shield, and Steve's like, what do you think? And Peggy's like, yes, I think it works. Captain America is ready to take the fight straight to Hydra. For months, Cap and his team take down Hydra bases one by one, leading with the picture of that crazy, stupid, fine chick Peggy in his compass. Schmidt losing his mind. Steve and his team track down Zola on a train, but in the fight, Bucky falls off a bridge into the abyss. Zola is captured and questioned. Over Hydra, Red Skull's prepared for his final assault. Steve's devastated because of Bucky's death, but Carter pushes him forward. Peggy's like, you gotta finish this fight. Using intel from Zola, they track Hydra's last stronghold and launch one final assault. Steve storms Hydra's last stronghold, gets captured. Oh no, Red Skull is about to kill him, but his team arrives and save him. Red Skull escapes and Steve follows him. Red Skull tries to escape in the ship Steve's left behind until Peggy and Phillips roll up with a last-minute lift. Steve's about to jump, but Peggy's like, wait, and kisses him. Steve boards Hydra's massive bomber, the Valkyrie, throws hands with Schmidt, and in the chaos, Schmidt grabs the Tesseract with his bare hands. Bad move. The cube reacts, a wormhole opens, sucks him into space. The Tesseract burns through the floor, drops into the ocean. And Steve, he realizes the only way to stop the Valkyrie's weapons? Crash it. Steve makes one last call to Peggy. Steve's like, I'm gonna need a rain check on that dance. Peggy's like, all right, what about next Saturday at Store Club? And Steve's like, you got it. And Peggy's like, don't be late. Steve's like, I still don't know how to dance. Peggy's like, I will show you how. Romantic stuff. Then, he crashes the Valkyrie into the Arctic. Howard Stark recovers the Tesseract but never finds Steve. Steve wakes up in what looks like the 1940s until he notices the radio's playing old music. He bolts outside and finds himself in modern-day Times Square, where Nick Fury walks up. He's like, you've been asleep for nearly 7 years. Steve? Barely processing it. Fury's like, you're gonna be okay. Steve like, yeah, I had a date. Oh, and end credits. Steve's training all punching and stuff. Nick Fury shows up. Steve's like, you're here with a mission, sir. Fury's like, I am. Steve's like trying to get me back in the world, and Fury's like trying to save it. So we start in Kiev, right? IMF squad's on a mission. Super spy stuff, real slick. Now Jim Phelps, OG agent, got that dad energy leadership, and his crew out here trying to stop this rogue agent named Alexander Golitsyn from snatching the CIA's knock list. And yo, this ain't no shopping list. This list got all the secret agent names in Europe. Like, bro, that's VIP intel. So they roll up to Prague for the mission, got all the gadgets, camera glasses, sneaky mask, awesome vibes. Everything is working perfect to disguise the hacking. But then, yo, it goes sideways real fast. One by one, agents get picked off like it's a spy horror movie. Jack gets cooked by an elevator. Jim got shot. Claire and Hannah blasted. Sarah and Glotzen. Why? The list gone. And who's left standing in the middle of this whole mess? My guy Ethan Hunt looking confused, breathing heavy like, wait, what just happened? Cut to this fancy restaurant with IMF boss Eugene Kittredge. Ethan's like, why was there another team? Eugene's like, IMF's infiltrated. Turns out whole mission was a setup. Golitsyn, just bait. We got a mole. And guess who's still alive? Ethan's like, oh snap, they think it's me. And what does Ethan do? Pulls out a stick of explosive gum, slaps it on the glass. Kablam, blows the place up and dips out like a legend. Full escape vibes. Back at the Prague safe house, Ethan's trying to piece it all together. Finds out Job 314 ain't a locker code. It's a Bible verse. Then guess who pops up like a plot twist? Claire, Jim's wifey, supposedly dead, but nah, she's all alive and breathing. She's like, Jim told to abort, so I dipped. Ethan's like, okay, but whose job? They decide to go talk to this shadow arms dealer lady named Max. Ethan's like, your knock list fake, it's got LoJack on it. Max is skeptical, but then boom. Kittredge and his goons roll up. Ethan and Max bounce out to there. Now Ethan's like, let me make you a deal. I'll get you the real list and the real mole for 10 mil. Max is like, bet. So Ethan builds his own spy squad. He brings in Luther Stickle, hacker legend, ex-IMF got Chill Tech Eye Energy, and then Franz Krieger, tough dude, sketchy vibes. And now it's heist time, baby. They roll up on CIA Langley to steal the actual knock list. Ethan drops down from the ceiling like Spider-Man, but with more anxiety. Can't make a sound, no sweat, no sneezes, no Chipotle burrito before the mission. But oh no, rap problem and Ethan's dangling midair. They get the list. Krieger's like, I got you, pulls him up. Oh snap, knife falls out. Man, that's intense. They smoke the place and escape like a boss. Now they are in London. Ethan and the crew just chilling after that CIA haste. And Krieger, man, trying to be slick like I got the disc, but Ethan outsmarts him. Classic. Ethan hears Kittredge arrested his mom and uncle just to lure him out. So Ethan hits up Kittredge from a payphone like, hey Eugene, miss me? Call gets traced, but Ethan, my man's always 5 steps ahead. And out to nowhere, boom! Jim Phelps just casually shows up alive like surprise twist. He's like, Kittredge is the mole man, swear. But Ethan already figured it out, cause the Bible came from a Chicago hotel. And guess who stayed there? Jem. Bro brought a stolen getting Bible to Prague. Big mistake. So Ethan sets up the real trap. He invites Max and Kittredge to a TGV train. You know, ones that go Zoom, but with croissants and good Wi-Fi. Max got the list and she's about to upload the knock list, but Luther's jamming the signal. Jim's also in the train. Claire walks in like, babe, and Ethan rips off the mask like, gotcha. Real Jim pulls up and goes full villain. Tries to take the money, but Ethan's already live streaming the whole thing to Kittredge. Claire's like, please don't. And Jim's like, too late. Blam, takes out Claire, goes full psycho. Dude climbs to the roof of the train where Krieger's hovering in a helicopter like, seen a ride, boss. And Jim's like, let's dip. But Ethan, nah, my guy's not letting that slide. He straps the chopper to the train with a cable like it's a carnival ride gone wrong. Ethan hits him with the explosive gum and boom, helicopter bursts in the tunnel. Villains, toasted. Kittredge arrests Max like, gotcha. Luther's like, here's your list. But Ethan's like, do I really want to do this spy life again? Then the flight attendant rolls up all smooth like, Mr. Hunt, would you like to watch a movie? Cue theme music, dun 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 dun. Thor, Nat, Clint, everybody jumps in. Banner shows up, old chill, and Cap's like, time to get angry. Bruce is like, that's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. Smacks a giant alien whale ship like it owed him money. All that team pose and stuff. Now Cap Collins shots, Hawkeye sharpshooting from the roof, Thor lightning everyone, Iron Man flying through buildings like it's a game of laser tag. And Hulk, smash. Loki's like, I am a god. And Hulk's like, wham, wham, wham. Puny god. Iconic. Selvig wakes up like, oh snap, and that's like how we shut it down. And he's like, use the scepter. Except now the government's like, let's just nuke New York, for real. Fury's like, nope, trying to call them off, but it's too late, missiles flying. Fury notifies Tony. Tony sees it, grabs that nuke, flies up into the portal, chucks it into the mothership, and boom! Massive alien shutdown. All Shitori just dropped like their Wi-Fi got cut off. Tony falls back through the portal, no power left. Dead weight, but Hulk snags him mid-fall like a pro. Portal closed, they save the city. Whole world's like, yo, Avengers are legit, but also like, yo, that was kind of terrifying. Mixed reviews, you know. So the squad splits up. Hill's like, what if we need them again? Fury's like, they will be back. Oh, and post-credits, cut to deep space, the other's like, hey, boss. So Earth was tougher than expected. And boom, big purple dude turns around, it's Thanos with full evil smirk, and after credits, the whole team's just sitting in his shawarma joint, eating quietly. Wow, so that's it, but don't ghost me, okay? So now's the time, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And you have subscribed, right? Right?